Hello, and welcome to another Hot Topics live stream. Let me make sure my mic is okay. Thank you guys for joining me. Hello, good evening. Let me know how I sound in the chat. We're going to get started in just a moment. Okay, it sounds good on my end. So we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. And before we get into the topics, just an FYI, I do exclusive content for Neptunian members and patrons. So if you're interested in watching, the links to join are in the description box. Also, if you like my content, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. Okay, so a lot of you, well, I'll say a few of you, it wasn't too many. But I did get a few requests to talk about Dwight Howard and his wife, Amy Luciani. Not going to play the video, okay? Not about to sit here and do that, okay? It's all over the internet if you want to see it. But Amy Luciani went live on Instagram earlier this week, and she alleged that Dwight is on drugs and CPS took his daughter and her stepdaughter from the home. Now, she didn't mention why, but she said that Dwight's drug addiction was ruining her marriage. And, she was sobbing and crying her eyes out in the video. And she proceeded to hold up a bag of rock, a bag of rock and nose dust, if you will, and said that Dwight's habits were destroying her marriage. And she said she was going public with everything to protect herself because apparently Dwight was attempting to incriminate her and had his son and his daughter lying to authorities about what was going on or something like that. I don't have all the details. So she went live. To my understanding, she went live and told everything and made everything public to pretty much cover her own ass. Okay. And then when Dwight got wind of what was going on, he filed for divorce. And to my understanding, which I didn't know this because I don't keep up with them, but apparently Amy has filed for divorce from Dwight before in the past. They've only been married for about a year. So, I'm willing to bet that it just probably was always a bad relationship and she just decided to marry him because he has money, he's a celebrity. He has money. What does he do? I'm so sorry. Is he a basketball player? I'm sorry. I don't really know too much about him. Is he in the NBA? Anyway, child, I know he's an athlete. Okay. Yeah, she pulled out a family size bag of it. Okay. Retired from the Lakers. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Retired NBA player. Okay. Yeah, so that's what he does, or what he did or whatever. And so Dwight's ex, Royce Reed, I believe that's her name. I'm sure that's her name. Yeah. Royce Reed, which she was, I believe, on Basketball Wives. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But she came out after all this and she was like, girl, me and the other mothers of his children, we tried to tell you about this Negro. You didn't want to listen. And she talked about how when she spoke out against Dwight, everybody was calling her crazy. And I vaguely remember that. Like, I vaguely remember Royce, like, always going viral for talking about Dwight. I vaguely remember that. Yeah. And I remember when she exposed him for messing around with men. I think it was her who exposed that, right? And then he later exposed himself because some guy was accusing him of SA and he admitted that it was consensual. And it's also been exposed that he's abusive. Like, he got a lot going on, right? And Royce and Dwight's son also came out basically confirming that his daddy has issues. So Royce obviously feels vindicated and rightfully so, right? But I think the biggest takeaway from this story is what I've been saying on my channel for years about women like Amy. I think her real name is Amber. Women like Amy who have who deal with men who have a track record of being trash, a track record of being horrible to other women, and somehow thinking that he won't do the same to them. And I'm glad more Black women are finally acknowledging that it's possible to vet men, even though y'all don't realize that you're acknowledging it in this situation. And that's something I found interesting. But I see a lot of you, telling Black women to stop ignoring the red flags and look at these men's relationship history with other women before deciding to date them or take them seriously. I see a lot of talk about not ignoring the red flags, right? And I'm like, oh, so you guys are saying or finally admitting that you actually can vet men. I'm glad we finally agree on that. Yeah, and I'm glad we finally understand that how a man treats the women before you is most likely is how he's going to treat you. Believe the other women, especially if it's more than one, saying the same thing about one man. They can't all be lying. Yeah, I saw that too. Some people were saying that she's on the powder too, which maybe she is. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of a lot of men like this, they typically find women to do that kind of stuff with. But I don't know too much about her, so yeah, I don't know. But, believe other women, believe the other woman, especially if it's more than one. They cannot all be lying. And my thing is, if you're going to be stupid and take a chance on a man who has several baby mamas that they didn't stay with, that they have several kids with, that kids that they barely take care of or see on a regular basis. If you're going to take a gamble on a man like that because he has a lot of money, don't legally attach yourself to him. Of course, don't get pregnant, which Amy didn't, thankfully. But, get your little allowance and your gifts and enjoy your trips and plan your exit. Be prepared to walk away when it's time to walk away. And thankfully, Amy did not have children, but she did marry him. And she seems to be in love. And she got attached to his children. And I get that. I understand. I get it. But girl, and I know this may sound cold, but she ain't got no biological kids with this man. She has zero baggage. She needs to count her blessings, take her L, and leave. That's how I feel. I know you miss the kids. I know you're going to miss the kids, but girl, time heals. Okay. I don't know with being a year, only being married a year. I don't know if she is going to get alimony or get anything much from the divorce. But yeah, it's just time to pack it up and go. But I just remember when I was watching some of her live streams, she said something like, oh, I've never asked him for a dime and all this stuff. I'm like, girl, you stupid. You should have been getting an allowance, which, I think she obviously was getting money, going on trips and all that stuff. But still, like she tried to come off as, oh, I'm not a gold digger. Well, you should be with a man like this. Like Dwight is trick material at best. I'm sorry. And I understand her speaking out about everything publicly for her safety and, trying to clear her name. But all that crying and snotting everywhere, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I was like, oh, she really believed his bullshit, huh? Like, she really loved him. And it's like, I'm sorry, like with his history, he cannot be that good of a liar. So it just appears that she got swept up in the fairy tale when he was never supposed to be her husband. And the issue with a lot of these women is that they be getting caught up, they be falling in love, and they really believe that they're going to magically change a man who has a pattern of damaging women. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, she was on there. It was just a lot. And something else I want to point out is, because I see a lot of people like trying to take this conversation in a direction like, and trying to like tie it in with hypergamy. And something I want to point out is this is not just a rich man thing. There are plenty of broke, cokehead black men with baby mamas and even wives who are going through this same thing. And they are struggling even more. Those women are struggling even more. But because they aren't rich, it's just not being talked about. Now, obviously, you know, with money comes power and abuse of authority and financial abuse and all that stuff. So it is a good idea to be mindful of that and cautious when it comes to that. But black women are getting unalived by abusers and addicts and narcissists who are broke as fuck. They're broke as fuck. Okay, we see stories like that every day. So we need to stop using this as an excuse to fear hypergamy and be hypogamous, because this happens with men across all socioeconomic statuses. So I just want you guys to remember that. Yeah, but so that's pretty much all I have to say about this. I don't really have too much to say. Yeah, I'm glad Amy got out without a baby. I'm glad she got out with a baby, got out without that. And also I heard that she still lives in the home. I think she should get away from him personally. You know, if it's all what she's saying it is, and he's a narcissist and he's on drugs and he's abusive and stuff, she needs to get away from him. And see, that's why I said, like, I feel like she wasn't very strategic about this, because I read somewhere that, well, I think no, Royce Reed. What's that girl's name? Royce Reed. She came out saying that Amy had sold her condo, moved into this big house with Dwight. So it's like, you know, it's like she really thought she was gonna stay with this man. You know, yeah. It's given that. It's given that. And I think, you know, some women, especially when it comes to like men with a lot of money, they're okay with like dating a man who's bisexual. So, you know, I believe she knew about that. I believe she was cool with it. Like, she was cool with all this stuff. She was cool with how he treated the other women. She was willing to tolerate that until, you know, her reputation was on the line, or until she was about to potentially get in trouble with the law or whatever is going on with that. So I think that's the only reason why she came out and said anything, just because, you know, her livelihood was at risk. But overall, I just think that she shouldn't have given up all of her things and put all her eggs in one basket and try to like actually make this man a family man and make this man a husband. That was never going to happen. And it was obvious it wasn't going to happen, because look what happened with the other women he was dealing with. So yeah, I think now she needs to move in silence. 100%. 100%. And I just, you know, I don't know if it was me. Girl, I would have been a little bit too embarrassed. Because Royce was saying how she was trying to fight her and the other baby mama or whatever. Is Royce an ex-wife? Was she married to the white? Or is she a baby mama? I don't remember. But I know he has like several baby mamas outside of Royce. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why she ever thought this was gonna happen, but if it was me, like, I would have had a little bit too much pride to go public with it. I would just had to call the police and, you know, get everything handled behind the scenes, because girl, that's embarrassing. Like, oh, Amy is the first wife. Yeah, that's embarrassing. You know, if you're trying to fight the baby mamas. And so, okay, now I kind of understand why she felt she was special, because he married her. But girl, come on. After 4 baby mamas, 5 baby mamas, it really kind of doesn't matter if he decides to marry you. It's still a red flag if he couldn't make it work with any of the mother of his children and he's barely seeing his children. Royce was saying how um she was on vacation. I think they went on vacation somewhere out of the country and left the kids at the house or something like that. So like, girl, what's going on? And apparently they're like young children. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I wouldn't have brought this shit to the internet either. Maya. Mm-mm. I would I would have had to take my L in silence. Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know he had a white baby mama. To boot the other three, why would it ever work? Lord. So this man is all over the place. He's allegedly dealing with men. He has several baby mamas. Like, I don't, that was never going to work. He's a man loving man. Yeah. So I don't know. I wish Amy the best, but this is kind of what you get when you think you're a special snowflake. When you think you're a special snowflake and a man is not going to treat you like he treated the several other women who came before you, like it's like walking into a burning building. And so, I'm glad the girls, aka Black women, are finally talking about, hey, you need to probably pay attention to what he's done to other women. You need to listen to the other woman, stop calling her bitter and jealous and all this stuff, and actually listen to what they're saying. And think to yourself, at some point, he's probably going to treat me the same way. You're not special. Your coochie is not special. Even if he marries you, like, that really don't matter. That just means you're probably the one who he feels like he can get over on the most and walk over the most. You're the one that he's most comfortable with because you tolerate most of his bullshit. Because that's another thing I thought of, like, when I was listening to her video, watching her video. Just think about how many, especially Black women, and we've talked about this before, a lot of y'all like this facade of Black love, because when you look at them, they a cute little chocolatey couple. They cute. They cute. But, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And this is true for any relationship, but there's a special level of dysfunction that comes with Black love that a lot of Black women especially don't want to talk about and don't want to be honest about because they want that fairy tale. Yeah, somebody said they look like siblings. Y'all do that with dark skinned couples. Y'all do that with light skinned couples. Y'all are so funny. I kind of see a little bit why y'all say that, but they don't look that much alike to me. But yeah, and so like a lot of these Black love wives, these Black love chicks, they don't want to be honest about how miserable they are in their marriages and their relationships. Y'all said it's the cheekbones. That's funny as hell. Y'all said it's giving cousins. I mean, I kind of see what y'all are saying. That's so funny. But yeah, a lot of these wives, they're not telling the truth about their relationships, and these are the kind of relationships they want us to be jealous of, or they want us to aspire to have. Like, oh, I got my Black man and my Black husband and my Black love, and you should want that too. And you just never know what's going on behind closed doors. Not the gay bestie. Oh my God. Y'all are so funny. Yeah, I saw a clip where they was like, somebody was talking about this on TikTok, and apparently he was on Dancing with the Stars. I didn't know that either, but he was just dancing. I was like, yeah, you could tell it's giving that. It's definitely giving femme. Okay. A little sprinkle, a little something in there. But yeah, so it's just like, you never know. And that's why I'm glad we're having more conversations. Not just, the girls just, I guess, romanticizing Black love, but really talking about what is the quality of these relationships? What is the quality of the marriage? Just having a ring, just having a marriage is not enough. What is the quality of that marriage? And I'm glad we're having those conversations because that's important. It's not just enough to be married. It's not just enough to be married to a Black man and have Black love. We need to know what the quality of your marriage is. And at this point, like, all the stuff that be coming about these girls and seeing all this stuff that they hide from the public, and then they come out and reveal everything that they've been dealing with their wonderful Black man, quote unquote, wonderful Black man. It's like, so you was lying the whole time. And I fully believe that Amy went into the marriage knowing who Dwight was. She knew how he was. I'm pretty sure he showed all the red flags before they even got married. But she said, "Oh, she probably said, oh, I can change him. Oh, he'll change." No, that's not how it works. So, yeah, this is why I don't idolize marriages just for the sake of them being like. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's cute or whatever, but I don't idolize them. I don't put them on a pedestal. I don't romanticize it, especially if it's black love. I just don't. Nope. And it's so interesting because, there's so many channels and so many videos talking about swirling gone wrong. I think we should start doing a series, Black Love Gone Wrong. That's pretty much a lot of my channel anyway. So, but I don't ever call it that. But maybe I should start titling these videos Black Love Gone Wrong. Okay. Because it's a lot of black love going wrong, and y'all don't label it like that though. Y'all don't talk about it like that. Y'all don't talk about it how y'all do swirlers. But it's black love going wrong all over the place. All over the place. Y'all shit is always ghetto and dusty for the most part. Always. So yeah, we gonna call that shit out every single time. Exactly. That'd be the majority. And that's the thing. Like, I think that because it's so common, we're just so used to it, it's just like, oh, that's just black love. Yeah, it's the default. Exactly. It's like black women are so used to it and desensitized to it. It's just like, oh, that's just the way they are, and y'all are willing to accept it. It's crazy. Oh Lord, is that already going downhill? AD with her man? Or are you talking about Clay? You talking about her new man or Clay? Yeah, because we talked about AD in the past. Yeah, Rashida and Kirk. Oh, that is one of the most dustiest black love relationships I've ever seen. That is some dusty shit. What? Yeah, see, I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about Dwight and Amy. Yeah, Candy and Todd. And that's the thing. And these people be married for years too. It don't matter if they're married for 1 year or 20 years. The shit is just usually, for the most part, dusty. And the girls know that, and they're still trying to sell it to black women. No, we're not going. I'm so sorry. Not sorry. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Um, yeah, making a series. I might have to. Black Love Gone Wrong, part 120. I need to go back and label all my videos that and just put it all in a folder. Black Love Gone Wrong. Because I mean, we have several examples. So, but yeah, I don't know too much about them. So yeah, if you're listening to the replay after this is over, put what you know about them in the chat. I'm sure I missed some things. I don't follow them. I'll be honest with you, I don't. So I don't know too much about them, but that is my opinion. So yeah, next I want to talk about this post I saw on Facebook about Olandria being Eurocentric. And this woman is claiming, I'm not trying to be too messy, so I blocked out her name, but you can find it on Facebook. But she's pretty much saying that black women are celebrating Olandria because she represents the Eurocentric standard of beauty. And somebody sent me this. And so I want to talk about it. And I'm going to read this post. She says, "This is an unpopular opinion. Y'all, young black women like Olandria because she represents the white beauty aesthetic, but dipped in chocolate. Olandria is great, but I think the connection to her is very curious. She looks like a Barbie doll, big eyes, high cheekbones, tiny nose, full lips, big boobs, impossibly small waist, curvy hips, even painted black. A Barbie is still Barbie. And her fans lovingly describe her as Black Barbie. And that's who folks really want to look like, but they know that's wrong to align outwardly with whiteness. So you find Black women who fit the same aesthetic, worship her looks, and you stoke your obsession. There are plenty of gorgeous dark skinned women like those pictured here. And these are the women she's pictured. And she said that don't conform to the same aesthetic, which is sexist in addition to being racist. Their looks are less uniform and less European, but they don't get the same dap for being beautiful because, well, y'all just want to uphold the white beauty myth while still being able to say you're pro-Black. This is not a critique on Olandria and her accomplishments or even her looks. She is a pretty girl and she looks how she looks. Plus, she's making the most of her 15 minutes and you can't knock the hustle. She's not the problem. It's why y'all are obsessed with her. That's the problem. And I found her choice of pictures interesting because pretty much all these women have been celebrated for their beauty by Black women in the Black community. And, I have to say this because it matters, but the lady who posted this is not a dark-skinned woman. I think that's very important. Okay. So she's not a dark-skinned woman and she's posting this and I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, aside from Alek Weck, that's Alek Weck in the bottom right? Aside from Alek Weck, none of these women particularly have like the fullest features. I mean, I think Olandria has fuller features than Lupita. So I feel like she missed the mark with this. Okay. Now, I do partially agree with what this woman is saying about featureism. And I think that conversation can be had because, we do gravitate towards dark-skinned women and Black women with smaller features. Y'all know I've been calling out featureism on my channel for years. But I don't think Olandria is the best example of what she's referring to. Okay. Olandria absolutely has features that we commonly see on Black women, okay? And she doesn't have the smallest features either, in my opinion. And in fact, that is what Olandria gets attacked for the most, her facial features that are commonly found among Black people. That's why a lot of Black women were negatively comparing her to Shelly and still doing it, by the way, because Shelly has smaller facial features than Olandria. And to be honest, that's why we see a lot of women of all races losing their shit over Olandria because she completely goes against the status quo. Now, I'm not saying that Olandria has the most broad features, but her features are commonly found on Black people, not white people. And I added some pictures in here because I'm like, girl, what is Eurocentric about Olandria? You get what I'm saying? And she has the common look of a Black person. And I say common because we all know what Black people and white people look like on average. Okay. Y'all like to argue with me about how Black people come in all shades and features. And while I do agree with that, there has to be a cutoff somewhere, right? Like if every feature can be a Black feature, then there are no Black features, right? And I understand that it all started in Africa and everybody are descendants of Africa, right? But we know how we distinguish different races of people. And it's because of the common features they share. We know what an Asian person looks like, right? We know what a white person looks like on average. Because of the features that they share, they typically share. And again, I understand that Black people have a variety of features, but let's also not play dumb like there's not a typical look, especially when it comes to Black Americans and Black people of West African descent. And it's funny because if y'all see a light-skinned mixed person with kinky hair and full lips and a round nose, a flat nose, you'll be quick to point out that they have Black features. But when it comes to a dark-skinned woman with those features, it's blasphemy to call them what they are. Have y'all noticed that? They're Black features, right? And I think people don't like to do that because deep down, you prefer dark-skinned women with small features, specifically small noses. It is internalized featureism. Let's just keep it real and call it what it is. But I say that to say that we know the features of the average Black person. And to me, Olandria has those features. Like I don't look at her and be like, oh, she's only popular because she benefits from featureism. Like that's not what I see with Olandria. And again, even with most of the dark-skinned women that this woman posted, Olandria, in my opinion, has fuller features than most of them. Alek Wek is the only one that's posted that has broad features that we don't see celebrated among unambiguous dark-skinned women often. I think Alek Wek is the only one who really fits her point, and I feel like she could have found some better dark-skinned women to make her point. Now, I do think I will say this. Olandria is thinner than the average Black woman, right? So she very much has a typical, or I guess a size that is more acceptable in the white community, which is why a lot of these fashion houses are pulling her in. But even with her frame, even with Olandria's frame, she's thin, but she has the typical Black woman body shape. I mean, am I the only one who thinks that? Even with her thinness and her skinniness, she doesn't. It's still very much giving Black woman. Okay, it's still very much giving Black woman typical body that's on a Black woman. I mean, am I the only one that thinks that? Yeah, she's very curvy, very bootylicious. Did y'all see her on Love Island? Yeah, she's still very curvy. She's just petite, right? And so, nothing about Olandria gives white woman to me. And I wish she would stop wearing this straight hair, but it's just it doesn't give Black woman or it doesn't give white woman to me at all. Um, I do think Olandria has pretty privilege. I think she has thin privilege that gives her a crossover appeal in white spaces. And I definitely think that's part of why Black women like her and aspire to look like her. But I don't think those of us who like Olandria are trying to quote unquote uphold whiteness. I think that's a reach. Okay, we're actually championing her because she's an exceptional blackety black, unambiguous dark skinned woman, not because she looks white. I don't think that's what we have in mind. We don't when we look at Landria, we don't be thinking, oh, because she looks closer to white. That's why we like her. That ain't why Black women like her on average. That's just not true. I'm not saying that Black women never do that because we absolutely do, or they absolutely do. But in this particular case, we're not standing Olandria because of her proximity to whiteness. Personally, I think that's a reach. And this is coming from somebody who's thicky thick. I am much thicker than Olandria, and I don't aspire to be her size because I like being thick, and a lot of Black women do. But we still see ourselves in Olandria in other ways, and we like her because she's a beautiful dark skinned Black woman. And I can guarantee you that most of us who identify with Olandria, we aren't thinking anything about upholding whiteness at all. Like that's just not what we're thinking at all. And and I have to say this, but I just I find it interesting how nobody says anything when we literally pedestalize thin, keen featured mixed women over fat mixed women with broad features. Like you would never see a post like this about light-skinned women that we as Black women pedestalize in the Black community. We would never see a post saying, "Oh, why aren't we uplifting light-skinned women and mixed race women who are fat and who don't have quote unquote European features?" Like what fat mixed women are Black women uplifting? What fat mixed women with keen features, or I'm sorry, with Afrocentric features, quote unquote Afrocentric features, what are we like? What kind of, where are those mixed women that we are uplifting? I mean, I'm trying to see something. We always pedestalize the thin, keen featured, exceptionally attractive mixed women over the fat women who may not be considered as conventionally attractive with broad features. And nobody demands that we stop doing that. But with dark skinned women, if she's not fat, then we're quote unquote upholding whiteness. Well, what about when we uphold all the skinny, attractive mixed women? I mean, why aren't there more posts about that? Yes. Alicia says it seems to be always be Eurocentric when it's a dark-skinned Black woman. Exactly. But like, why aren't Black women demanding that we center plus size, full featured mixed women with kinky hair instead of women like Tyla or Lotto or Meghan Markle and all the other girls that Black women put on a pedestal? Like, I never hear this argument when it comes to mixed race women. And so I think that that is very telling. Yep. Distraction from the celebration of unambiguous Black beauty. I agree. It's like dark skinned women are never allowed to put their quote unquote best forward, but we're allowed to worship and pedestalize the best of other groups, whether it be mixed women, Black men, or whoever. Now, I do agree with the need for variety of features among dark skinned Black women. And that's why I always strived to present unambiguous dark skinned women with a variety of features on DDS. If you look on the page, you'll see that there is a variety of features on there. And, I definitely see the featureism in Black women's spaces. I've talked about it on my channel for years. And something else I've noticed, and I have to say this, it is usually unambiguous dark-skinned women with full features that argue that Black people come in all shades and facial features and hair textures. Like, it's always those women who are overly identifying with keen-featured Black women. Like, it's rarely ever, the dark-skinned women who actually have keen features. I always found that to be interesting. So, I do think we should absolutely talk about that. But I'm not sure that Olandria is the right example to use when having that conversation. And this is coming from someone who's always called out featureism, always. Yeah, trying to live vicariously through keen featured women. And it's funny because, Black women have accused me of saying that dark skinned women can only have full features and big noses when I've never said that. And I actually promoted dark skinned women with keen features on DDS for years. So, but I think I just, we have to use the right examples in these conversations. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Whitney says Olandria gets so much hate and it's sad because she's beautiful, but people online call her ugly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if this woman is not aware of how people be dragging Olandria because of her facial features. So it's like, I'm not saying that she doesn't benefit from pretty privilege, but I think to say, oh, she's just, popular because of featureism, I don't think she's the best example for that. And I think it's important to highlight what this woman is saying. It's a very real problem. Featureism is a very real problem. And we do need to work on I do see Black women, they tend to favor dark-skinned women with features that align more with the Eurocentric beauty standard. But and I've said that before, and a lot of y'all took that as me saying that dark-skinned women can't be unattractive or can't be attractive, when that's not what I'm saying. And so I do think the language needs to change, because there are people who really got mad at me for that conversation in the past. And they were saying, oh, well, you're saying that dark-skinned women can't be attractive. But they were also saying that while assigning attractiveness to keen features and small noses. It's like, why do you automatically do that? And again, this is typically coming from Black women who don't even have small features or benefit from featureism at all. So it's a lot of feature blindness in the Black woman community going on. And these are the same women who negatively compare Shelly and put her on a pedestal over Olandria, when they themselves look more like Olandria. And so, with all this going on, like what all has been going on with Olandria and how Black women especially have been pitting her against Shelly because of their facial features, Yeah, Olandria is not the best example for this. Like, I think that they could have, she could have used Shelley for the example. Shelley would have been a better example, but not Olandria. Yeah, white women have, everybody's been hating on Olandria. And that is why, like, I think it's because Olandria does not benefit from a lot of the isms. She's just pretty. She doesn't benefit heavily from featureism, anything, texturism, colorism. She doesn't benefit from any of that, but she's still successful. And she's still the most successful from that season of Love Island. And so people are looking at her and they're like, wait a minute. They're trying to rationalize in their minds why she's so successful, because she doesn't benefit from the isms. That's why. And so, yeah, this is not the right example. Yeah, Olandria has features of the everyday Black woman. She does. She does. Exactly, Selena. The way how people don't understand facial harmony is wild. Yeah. And so, yeah, this I don't agree with. And again, this is coming from somebody who acknowledges featureism on the regular basis. And Black women, especially dark-skinned women, do struggle with internalized featureism. That's a thing. But this is just not a good example. And, I just want to say this too, because it's just so interesting how the arguments are just so all over the place. Because with me, when I heavily started celebrating Olandria, people were telling me, oh, you just like celebrating Olandria because she's ugly and she has a broad features. And I'm like, okay, if I have full features and I see a black skinned woman being, or a dark skinned woman being celebrated because she's beautiful and she also has fuller features, why wouldn't I celebrate what I look like? If you love yourself, you're going to celebrate people who look like you. But then you have this woman who's saying y'all only celebrate Olandria because she benefits from featureism. It's like, it really just depends on who's talking, I guess. Yeah, and that's the argument that people were making towards me. And so it's like, which one is it? It's like, are dark skinned women celebrating Olandria because she's exceptionally beautiful and she's just so perfect and she aligns more with the Eurocentric standard of beauty? Or are we celebrating her because she's ugly and average and there's nothing special about her looks? Like, it can't be both. It can't be both. So, I mean, she has that it factor. Yeah, and that is what I'm saying. When I look at most of these women on the screen that she compared to Olandria, most of them have smaller features than Olandria. So it's just the point is not landing for me. And I just want to say this too, like, because I know somebody's going to come in here and say it. I don't think that all dark skinned women have to have extremely large noses to be considered Black. Let's not exaggerate, because that's something else y'all do. Y'all will accuse Black women who call out featureism of only wanting dark skinned women with KRS noses or Jay-Z noses to be promoted, when that's not what we're saying. We're saying that we want to see a wider variety of features, specifically on unambiguous dark skinned women being celebrated. Women like Alek Wek in the bottom right. That's an example to me, right? We just don't want to see dark skinned women with small noses and silky hair. It's really not that hard to understand. And if you still don't understand that, you just don't have the range for this conversation. Because it seems like every time we talk about featureism, it's like, that's exactly what y'all bring up. Y'all be like, oh, y'all just want to see Black women like Tarana Burke, and y'all just want to see Black women who have noses like Jay-Z and KRS-One. It's like, when did we ever, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with those noses, by the way, at all. Like, I don't think anything's wrong with their noses, but when you look at people like Tarana Burke or Jay-Z or what's the other one? I mean, we can even throw in Glorilla. She's not dark skinned, but she has, a wider nose. That's, to me, on the average Black person, that's rare. They have bigger noses than the average Black person, right? They still have fuller features, but I feel like Black people in this conversation, they always want to go to the most extreme example of a Black person with full features. And it's like, why do you have to go to the extreme like that? I just think that's weird. Like, can we just go off of what, the typical Black person looks like? The typical dark, And again, nothing wrong with those nose shapes. Like, I don't want to get into all of that, but like, y'all are really when we talk about this, y'all are acting like KRS-One, like most Black people, like we're saying most Black people have that nose, or y'all are, it's like, but they don't. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it is. I think it is a humbling tactic. Yeah, and then even when you think about somebody like Jay-Z or KRS-One, which I don't find them to be unattractive, but when you look at them, it's not even necessarily the size of their nose that is why they would be considered unattractive. It's just they don't have facial harmony. It's like the symmetry is not there. It's not even the shape of the nose. It's nothing like that. There are plenty women and Black people with large noses, broad features that are attractive. So to me, it's just not that serious. And I don't think those people are hard to promote. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, but yeah, I just feel like and I saw some shade from other people who were talking about this, and they were like, yeah, and the Black women's empowerment sector is responsible for it. No, we're not, because this is not, I would never say anything like this. And let's not exaggerate my conversation about featureism and what this woman is saying. Like, no, that's not what we were talking about. When I said that Black people like to um put dark-skinned women who benefit from featureism and texturism on a pedestal, I was more so talking about the chili types. The chili types from TLC. The darker skinned women who have type 3 hair and, actually have keen features. We weren't talking about Olandria, and y'all know that. And so I just find it weird when and usually that argument, like, is coming from, again, dark-skinned women who don't even benefit from featureism at all. You got a dark-skinned woman talking, and they're like, we come in all shades and colors, and she has a large nose or full features, full lips, bigger features than some of the women that she's trying to claim. And so I just think that's weird too. Like, why are Black women, why is it always the darkest, the most full featured Black woman arguing the most about how Black people come in all shades and colors? Yeah, and features and textures. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Justine Skye type. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And those are usually the women, yeah, they have self-esteem issues, and those are usually the women who don't know what they look like. They have feature blindness too. Because one of these women in particular, like, she's on record saying that she doesn't have a big nose, and she does. And nothing's wrong with that. She has a larger nose, and nothing's wrong with that. But like, those are usually the same women who are like, we come in all shades and colors and features and textures of hair, and we don't all look like that. We don't all have big flat noses. And you look at her, she has a big flat nose, and it's like, girl, like, come on. Love who you are, ladies. Love who you are. There's nothing wrong with having, the typical Black features. There's nothing wrong with having broad features. Nothing wrong with having full features. It's perfectly okay. And also, on the flip side of that, no, just because we celebrate a dark-skinned woman, it's not automatically because she benefits from featureism or because she or we're trying to uphold the white standard of beauty. I don't know. I feel like y'all don't have a good grasp on these conversations. And again, it has to be feature blindness, because how are you looking at Wound Me and looking at Olandria and being like, Wound Me? I mean, maybe because Wound Me is plus size, I guess. I don't know. But even with Lashana Lynch, like, Olandria has fuller features than Lashana. Olandria has fuller features than Lupita. Those were not good examples. And so, like, I don't know. I feel like we really have some issues with this. Like, we have feature blindness. Yeah, the nuances are missing. Yeah, there's no nuance in this conversation. Right. That's what I'm saying. Mooney has smaller facial features than Olandria. So it's like, again, I think she used her as an example in particular because she doesn't fit the Eurocentric body type standards. I think that's why. But yeah, again, I mean, when we look at this conversation, like, where is the light skin Wound Me, right? That Black women celebrate. When you think about it, like, or the mixed race Wound Me, like, there's typically Black women are not celebrating any mixed person mixed with Black woman who does not in some way fit the Eurocentric beauty standard. So it's like, I just call bullshit on these women who are trying to make us force Black women to only promote, I guess what, dark-skinned women who don't benefit from anything, who aren't pretty, who don't benefit from any type of privilege or whatever. Like, that's like, those are the only dark-skinned women they want us to celebrate. And that's unrealistic, because we don't do that for any group of women. And I just feel like if y'all really want that to be a thing, if we really want that to be a thing, then I'm gonna need y'all to start celebrating these, conventionally unattractive mixed race women. I'm gonna need y'all to start celebrating these plus size mixed race women. Like, I need to see more of y'all lifting them up if you're really trying to hold that standard for dark skinned women. Like, I need to see that across the board. It needs to be some consistency. Like, when women like Tyler are being put on a pedestal, I need somebody like this woman to post and be like, y'all only like Tyler because she fits the Eurocentric standard. To be like, I need y'all to have that same energy with mixed women and light-skinned women. Otherwise, it just sounds like concern trolling. It sounds like fake outrage to me. And it sounds like you just don't want dark skin, and especially when it's coming from a lighter skinned woman, it just sounds like you don't want attractive dark skinned women to be on a equal playing field as lighter skinned mixed race women. That's what it sounds like. It just sounds like you're a hater and you're trying to sabotage the image of unambiguous dark skinned women and the positive promotion that we do receive. Yeah, they don't want the competition. Yep. Exactly. Exactly, Pink. She says, excuse me, she said, if you say that about Tyla, they would call you anti-Black. They would absolutely say we were being anti-Black if we came out and said that Tyla is only popular because she fits the Eurocentric standard of beauty. It would be a whole thing about that. Yeah, that could be a possibility. That maybe they think Ola has a small nose because her bridge is small. Like, yeah, possibly. Let's look at it again. Let's look at her. Yeah, I could kind of see that. But them nostrils ain't small. Like the whole bottom half of her, like I can give you a little bit with the bridge, a little bit of her nose. But you know, that's still a black nose. The way it's shaped, especially at the bottom, that's a typical black nose. And her lips, especially, like, come on, y'all. It's not giving keen in that way, the way y'all say it is. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, it's not enough to be like, oh, so like if this was anybody else, like maybe again, Chili from TLC, Justine Sky. I'm trying to think of somebody else. And even with Justine, I mean, I still think Justine definitely has black features. Chili does too, but you know what I mean. When we talk about women who benefit from featureism, you get what I'm saying? I just don't feel like Olandria is a good example. Yeah, and somebody mentioned contouring. Yeah, and they definitely contour her face for sure. And I think at certain angles her nose looks smaller. But yeah, it's not small to the point where we should be having this conversation, in my opinion. And again, like I always be wondering, like, where are these conversations anytime, any other time? Where are these conversations when we talk about Lori Harvey? You know what I mean? Like, y'all only bring this stuff up with dark skin. It's just crazy. And dark skin women, it don't even apply to. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, Lori Harvey is a perfect example of a woman who benefits heavily from featureism. I've never heard black women have that conversation about her. Ever. And when I tried to have the conversation, when I told y'all, I said, look, y'all trying to use Lori Harvey as an example of Michael B. Jordan liking black women. Yeah, well, he likes a certain kind of black woman. And it's usually black women or mixed with black women, multi-generational mixed women who have a certain hair texture and certain features like Lori Harvey. Y'all told me that you got 10,000 women in your family that look just like Lori Harvey and that she looks like the average everyday black woman. That's what y'all told me. And so it's so interesting how, y'all all of a sudden want to have this conversation and when it comes to Olandria, but with women who actually benefit from featureism and texturism, you don't want to have that conversation and you want to pretend that they look like the average black woman when they don't. Olandria is closer to looking like the average black woman than Lori Harvey. Sorry. And I know some people are going to be arguing with me about that, but it's the truth. You're going to see more black women who look like Olandria than Lori Harvey around, the way in everyday life. Exactly. Prototype says, right, if we're going to talk about feature privilege, we got to talk about everyone, not just Olandria. Exactly. Not just dark-skinned women. Let's talk about all of them. Let's talk about the brown-skinned women, the light-skinned women who benefit from featureism and texturism. Until y'all are willing to have that conversation honestly about women who are not dark-skinned, I can't take this conversation seriously. Yeah, I agree. Lori Harvey's more on the brown skin side. I agree. So, yeah, I just don't agree. But yeah, that's all I want to say about that. The next thing is I wanted to talk about this little girl on TikTok who came out saying that she didn't like being dark skinned. Don't tell me I didn't add the clip. Okay, let me know if y'all can hear this clip.
Okay, I'm getting ready for school, and this is my little morning rant. I low-key hate being dark skin. Like, I'm sorry, I have to say, like, I low-key hate being dark skin. Like, I try to gaslight myself into thinking I love the color.
Okay, what the hell happened? Hold on, y'all. I didn't mean to stop the video. What the hell?
Okay, I'm getting ready for school, and this is my little morning rant. I low-key hate being dark skin. Like, I'm sorry, I have to say, like, I low-key hate being dark skin. Like, I try to gaslight myself into thinking I love the color of my skin, and it's like, I feel like a certain point I did, but it's like when you constantly are hearing comments, it just gets like overwhelming. Like, dang, if all these people think this about my skin, it's like, damn, like, why should I like it? You know? And I know that sounds like so like cliche or whatever, but it's like, oh my gosh, like, no one will ever see me anything other than just being dark. Like, and it's like, I don't understand why that's such an issue, one. And it's like, second, hold on. And two, it's like, most of the time it's people of my race. Like, you're my race and you're talking about me. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And it's like, I be trying to talk to my mom about it, and she doesn't understand because she's a light-skinned woman. Like, I feel like no one understand because they're not as like dark as me. And it's like, I know that sounds so dumb to say, but I don't know, let me just go to school.
Now, I don't know how old this little girl is, but you can tell she's quite young. Pretty sure she's a young teenager. Um, and see, this is where the arguments about, oh, it's your weight, it's your attitude, it's not your skin color. This is where those arguments fall apart. Like, and you can't say this little girl's ugly, and you can't say that she's making a, a ugly girl argument either. She's not ugly at all, not even a little bit. But this shows you how early dark-skinned Black girls are made to feel like they are not beautiful inside of the Black community. Because I often see people say, oh, what about the white man? What about white people who are colorist? A lot of Black children aren't growing up primarily around white people. They're growing up around Black people. And this is their own community that is making them feel this way. And nobody wants to be honest about this happening. And when I saw this, it just made me sad, and it reminded me of why my platform is so important and so necessary, because I have helped thousands of dark-skinned girls and women stop feeling this way about their skin over the years. I know a lot of you came to me feeling just like this girl feels. And I still get testimonials to this day from women thanking me for helping them to love their skin. So I hope that this young, beautiful girl will come across my page so she can learn how to navigate this world strategically as she grows into a dark-skinned woman. And I hope she understands that what she's going through is temporary, and that the world's colorism has nothing to do with her or her value as a dark-skinned girl. And she's absolutely beautiful. And I'm not saying that just because, like, she's actually pretty. Like, and it's a shame that a girl that is this pretty, like, I took some pictures, like, I don't particularly think that hair flatters her, but she has some really beautiful videos and pictures of in natural hair. She's beautiful. This girl is beautiful. And it's just a shame that somebody like her, somebody as pretty as her, feels that way. She should never feel that way being this pretty. TY says that bum ass one drop rule. Yeah. So pretty. But this just goes to show you how trash this community is. Because a lot of what she's experiencing in school from these colorist children, who do you think taught them the colorism? It's their parents, it's the adults. But I hope, that as she gets older, she becomes more confident in her skin, because her skin is beautiful. She's beautiful. And yes, I know she's young and kids at school are mean and everybody gets teased because I know that's going to be the argument. But that doesn't make colorism okay. Okay. And it also doesn't excuse Black people for perpetuating colorism and passing it down to their children. The parents and the adults are part of the problem. And even under this video, there were grown ass dark skinned women gaslighting this little girl and telling her to be quiet and get over it. And they're embarrassed because they're too afraid of what colorists will think, and especially colorist Black men. So a lot of these, these little girls, they can't even depend on women who look like them to help them through their insecurities. It's disgusting. This is a child. And see, this will be the same community calling her self-hating if she grows up and she starts bleaching her skin or changing her features. And, Black people in these conversations, they always tell dark-skinned women and girls to get some self-esteem and just love yourself, but they refuse to pour into them like they do everyone else in the community. I just want y'all to imagine if this were a dark-skinned Black boy saying this. Imagine if a dark-skinned Black boy went on TikTok and said that he hated his dark skin. How do you think Black women would have reacted to that? Dark-skinned women would be flooding that comment section with affirmations, calling him a young king and everything else. But see, this is why I can't take Black people seriously when they say they care about dark-skinned girls and women. She's proof that y'all don't. And this is why I will continue to tell dark-skinned women and women, Black women, that you don't owe this community shit. You don't owe them loyalty. And if you're a minor and you're listening to me right now, as soon as you're of age, cut all these colorist Black people out of your life, whether it's family or friends or so-called friends, and don't give them access to you. That's exactly what I did. And my life is so much more peaceful. It's so much more leveled up than it would have been if I kept them in my life. And it's one of the best things that I've done for myself. One of the best things I've done for myself. And something I found interesting, because this starts at home, right? Self-love, self-esteem, confidence, all that stuff starts at home. That is something your parents are supposed to instill in you. And something that she said was that her mother is light-skinned and she does not understand. So I'm just assuming here, but she said her mother is light-skinned, so I'm assuming her father is dark-skinned or darker than her mother. And she said she tried to talk about this with her mother, but she's basically been of no help to her. And so this goes back to what I always say on my channel about colorists or suspected colorists, because I don't know this little girl's parents. This goes back to what I say about suspected colorists producing dark-skinned daughters and not knowing how to teach them how to love their skin. Let the internet tell it. It's only dark-skinned mothers who do this, but clearly it's light-skinned mothers as well. And all I want to know is, where are all the people who claim to be so concerned about the dark-skinned women who swirl and produce light-skinned daughters and are supposedly jealous of them and will mistreat them or whatever? What we see here is actually more common. Little dark-skinned girls who have light-skinned mothers and dark-skinned fathers. This is more common than a Black woman producing a mixed-race child with a white man. And it's more common that a lot of these colorist people are raising self-hating dark-skinned little girls because they are colorist and they don't love themselves. And they typically don't actually like dark skin and Black features. Gracie Inspired said, at what point do we stop blaming the one drop rule and start holding the Black community accountable for perpetuating colorism in music, culture, desirability, etc.? At this point, we are the problem. Exactly. When we know better, we do better. You cannot blame white people forever for this, y'all. And that's typically the scapegoat in these conversations. Well, why don't y'all focus on white people? Why don't y'all focus on color? We do. We talk about racist and colorist white people all the time. But at what point can we actually have an honest conversation about the colorism that happens inside the community? And since y'all know so much about how it was supposedly passed down from white people, and white people are the reason why we hate ourselves and we hate our skin color, which colorism was a thing way before colonialism. It was way before the Europeans came in and controlled anything. But the colorism that we experience today, yes, it is because of white people perpetuating that. However, since you know that, why are you still perpetuating it in your own community then? If you know that that's not the way to do it, if you know it's wrong, then why are you still perpetuating it inside of the community? And that's how you know it's really not about real concern. They don't want to talk about the in-house problems. That's really what it is. They want to be able to blame everything on white people. They want to be able to scapegoat white people. But no, after all this time, you should know better. After all this time, we shouldn't have little dark-skinned Black girls in school feeling like this. Y'all shouldn't be passing this on to your children, passing colorism onto your children if you claim to know better. So I agree with Gracie. I 100% agree with you. And this is why I will never on my channel only focus on what white people do wrong. No. But yeah, I don't hear all these people who claim to be so concerned about, you know, how dark-skinned women are going to treat their light-skinned daughters when they have babies with white men. Well, why don't y'all ever talk about little girls like this? Why don't y'all ever bring them up? Because you don't care about the children. That's why. You don't really care about the children. Because I don't hear y'all expressing any concern whatsoever about these girls, these dark-skinned girls, and how they grow up with no support system when it comes to colorism. That's how I know it's fake concern. Because I haven't seen anybody talk about this. All these people who talk about, oh, well, what about the kids? What about the kids? Y'all never talk about this. So no, you don't actually give a damn about Black children and dark-skinned Black children especially. But you don't really care about Black children of any complexion. You just pretend you do, so you can try to control dark-skinned women and what we do with our bodies and who we date and all this stuff. But yeah, so when you hear that argument, you know, well, what about dark-skinned women having light-skinned children? Y'all don't even take care of the dark-skinned children in the community. Start with that first. Why are you starting with these imaginary children that most dark-skinned women don't even have with white men? Why aren't you starting with the little dark-skinned girls and the little Black girls in your own community? Start there. And until you do that, I don't believe it. It's all fake concern to me. I don't believe you. But yeah, this is what she posted on her social media. She said pros and cons of being dark skinned. Where are the cons at or the pros? She said lighter colors looking good, nice undertones, glow. Excuse me. And then for the cons, she said not being boys' first choice, constantly having to hear about it, hearing unfunny jokes, being called dark 24/7, being cold, masculine, not being the beauty standard, people not understanding where you're coming from. And so these are all things that she's experiencing in her immediate environment. I'm sure she's seeing some of this stuff online too, but this is what's happening in her immediate environment with the people in her school, with the kids in her school. Where do you think these kids are learning that from? They're learning it from their parents. Yeah, I think she definitely needs somebody to talk to for sure. Now, she was, she did release another video, which I'll play it in a minute. And so it appears that she was just having a moment, right? She's just having a moment of insecurity. But it's like the ways some people were responding, which, she got some support in the comment section. I don't want to pretend like nobody was, no Black women were under there supporting her, but it was very mixed comments, in the comment section. But it's like, this also showed me that dark-skinned girls and women, they can't be insecure about anything. Like, they can't have a moment of insecurity. They can't feel bad about themselves for any, like, we always have to be constantly uplifted, constantly happy, constantly, confident, when that's unrealistic. Like, not every Black women and dark-skinned women are not always gonna feel insecure about everything. Like, are we not allowed to have insecurities like everybody else? Yeah, Whitney says grown ass men and women telling her to get over it in the comment section was sad. Like, wow, I was speechless. Right. And it's like, to a certain extent, like, okay, when grown dark skinned women do it, I can expect it. But with a child, like, that's how you're talking to a child. Imagine if a little mixed girl came on there and said, I hate my hair. I hate my curly hair. Imagine the response that would be coming from. It would not be, oh, get over it and just be quiet. That wouldn't be the response. They would be uplifting her. They would be telling her her hair was beautiful. And so y'all don't pour in. And then that's another thing. Y'all would expect Black women to pour into that little girl who doesn't like her hair. And you would understand the need to pour into these little girls in the community to, improve their self-esteem and their sense of their self-confidence, and improve their sense of self-worth. You would understand the importance of that. But with dark-skinned girls, it's like, we just have to get it on our own. We just have to get it out of nowhere. We have to get our self-esteem and our self-confidence and our love, our self-love out of thin air. That's not how it works. Like, self-esteem, self-confidence, it does not exist in a vacuum. Like, yeah, at some point, I think, as dark-skinned women, we eventually learn how to love ourselves and not need as much outside validation. I think we all just have to learn that at some point. If we're not going to be miserable, walking around miserable all the time. So yeah, I mean, I think self-love is very important. Self-validation is very important. And I think that Black parents should be teaching that to their dark-skinned daughters, for sure. You should be teaching them self-love and not to solely rely on outside validation. I actually 100% agree with that. But also, self-esteem does not exist in a vacuum. Like, a lot of these mixed race women aren't walking around all conceited and with a superiority complex because they have self-love and they got it from themselves. It's because they got that validation from the outside. It's because they got that from other people. And more specifically, they're getting that validation, that outside validation, from Black women. A lot of that is coming from Black women, and of course, Black men primarily. But a lot of the validation they get in the Black community is from us. Yet when it comes to a dark-skinned little girl, nobody wants to give that to her. And if she wants that, something is wrong with her. And she just needs to be quiet and just get it out of thin air. Get all of her self-esteem from nowhere. That's not how it works. That's not how humans work. That's basic level psychology. Humans derive a lot of their confidence and their self-worth from other people, from being affirmed by other people. They don't just get it from themselves. And see, it does start at home, because the reason why I have so much self-confidence as an unambiguous dark-skinned woman, and why I've been able to do this work for 11 years now, it's almost been 11 years, which is crazy. But the reason why I've been able to do that for so long, and people have not been able to bully me off, the colorists have not been able to bully me off and run me off, is because I have a strong foundation. I grew up with a dark-skinned mother, natural hair, used to literally stand me in the mirror and tell me that my features are beautiful. I learned that from the men in my life as well. My stepfather especially. Always telling me I was pretty, always telling me my hair was pretty. That stuff is important. And so when I went out in the world with that foundation. And so, when you go out in the world with that it's not to say that I didn't fall into some traps at one point, where the society was kind of getting to me a little bit, and I started wearing weave and all that stuff, but I came back around. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I was completely immune to, what was going on the outside. But usually when you start out with a strong foundation, you typically come back around. And that's kind of what happened to me. I love that. I love that. And so, yeah, it starts at home, but that validation that you get from other people, whether it be for your looks, whether it be for your accomplishments, like, I don't like how people act like they try to downplay that and act like that's not important to everybody. Like, it is. It is. It's important to Black men. It's important to mixed race women. It's important to white women. It's important to white men. Everybody likes outside validation. Everybody thrives off of that. And that's why they hate me. That's why, honestly, think about it. If you think about outside validation, right? Why do you think so many mixed race women and so many Black men hate my platform? It's because I don't validate them, right? It's because they don't get outside validation from me and the women over here. They want us to continue to manstroke them and put them on a pedestal. And because we don't, they literally are having meltdowns. They're stalking me, trying to dox me, trying to bully me, being like totally obsessed over me because I represent somebody who's taking away their outside validation. I represent a removal of their outside validation. Yet they're trying to say that dark-skinned women and girls should not want that. But they want it. They want to be validated from strangers and from random Black women. And so it's like when people tell you to not care about outside validation at all, those are usually people who want it the most. It's all bullshit. They're lying. Yeah, Mariah says, when you hear it from your family, it comes off as, oh, they're just saying it because we're related. But when it comes from the outside, it's more valid. And that's usually true for most people. Some of the most, arrogant people, whether they be Black men, white women, white men, mixed race women, they're arrogant because they get a lot of outside validation from strangers, not their family, but from strangers. So yeah, just to sit here and pretend that doesn't matter at all to most humans is lying about human nature. Okay? You're lying. Okay, Allie, that's you. Allie says, I don't give a fuck about outside validation and it's not an act. Okay, that's great for you, but I'm telling you how most humans operate. Most humans want outside validation and affirmation. That's just the thing. Like, that's basic human psychology. I mean, even when down to the comment section, if you're putting a comment in a comment section and you're wanting likes, you want outside validation. Like, let's just call a thing a thing. I don't know why Allie's so triggered. I mean, even now, she's looking for attention in the comment. I mean, you want attention. You want your feelings to be validated in this comment section. You want people to agree with you. That's a part of outside validation. Y'all don't really want me to break this down because you're going to be upset. I mean, this is just the truth. Yeah, there are tons of studies on, like, I don't know what the argument is. Now, again, people like to take things to the extreme. Like I said earlier about featureism. Nobody is saying that dark-skinned women and girls should strictly rely on outside validation. We're not saying that, okay? But we're saying that just like y'all uplift and pour into other people in this community, namely Black men, Black boys, and mixed race girls and women, you can do that for dark-skinned girls. And it's your fault that a lot of them feel that way about themselves. Like this little girl said, she hates her skin. It's your fault. because you don't pour into dark-skinned girls like you pour into everybody else. Part of it is your fault. It starts with the parents, but it's also your fault as a community. Because again, we're responsible for pouring into everybody else. And I'm going to show you a comment that shows that in just a second. But I want to play this second video real quick from her. Just to show you that this is not her. She's not perpetually trying to be a quote unquote victim. She doesn't, wallow in her low self-esteem. She was just having a moment. And dark-skinned girls and women are allowed to have moments. So let me play this second video.
Hey guys, so this is after practice, and I was reading all your messages throughout the day, and I really appreciate it so much. Especially the day just started and it was already rough, and honestly, in the video I know where I said I hate being dark skinned, but looking back, I was in an emotional state, especially after I just got a comment from a boy at my school, and it hurt, but it's just I would never trade being dark skinned, I actually love my skin color. I feel like it suits me really well. It just, at certain times, I do feel like I do not like it, just because of the vibe I get from it, it gets tiring. It's sometimes I be feeling people 2 shades lighter than me don't be getting the same treatment that I be getting, even from teachers, everyone. It's just dang, you're treating me worse before you even get to know me. And then when you finally do get to know me, it's oh, you're actually an adult person. No, you should have just never had a feeling about me from the start, And I'm currently a sophomore in high school right now, and it's I'm trying my hardest not to let those words get to me, but it's been this since I was in 4th grade, probably even sooner. But the more I realized more when I got to middle school, that's when I realized. But it's I don't know. But yeah, it just does really get irritating at times because leave me alone. But I'm just honestly grateful for everyone who was in my comments. I tried to block as much people from my school so it wouldn't be people treating me better because they feel bad for me, and I just don't want that. I just want to be a normal girl, And I'm just thankful. Thank you guys so much. I really hope you guys stay around, and much love.
So yeah, it just sounds like the typical teenager. I was 15 as a sophomore, so she's probably 15, 16. And she's just going through the phases that little teenage Black girls go through, that some of us went through, and that teenagers in general go through. This is not uncommon. Whether it's if you're getting teased for your skin tone or your hair or whatever it is that little kids be getting teased about when they're in high school or when they're in middle school or whatever, that's just what she's going through right now. This is, the phase that she's in right now. It's not going to last forever. Yeah, she's beautiful. Come on. And I think she knows she's pretty. But like she said, the little boy, whatever he said to her got to her. And, that's another thing that they try to say, oh, well, little dark-skinned girls, dark-skinned women are so male identified. Who wasn't checking for boys when they were 15 or 16? Who didn't want attention from boys at that age? Who didn't like that? And who didn't feel a way if the boy that they liked didn't like them or said something mean to them? This is just normal stuff. And so for a lot of these people to be acting oh, this is just a dark skin thing, and no, it's not. This is normal stuff. And she's allowed to have a moment. Now, I hate that, she feels she has to get on the internet and get the validation from, strangers, and she can't actually talk to somebody at home. Somebody said that she needs therapy. I agree with that, but her and her mama need therapy. They need to go together because clearly she's dealing with something and she has nobody to talk to. And I hate that she has to put it on the internet because the internet is just ruthless. They're vicious. They're mean. And so I wish that she didn't have to do this, or she didn't feel like she had to, but I'm not going to shame her for doing it either, because she's a kid. You know what I mean? She's a kid. She's a child. You don't talk to a child the same way you would an adult. That's crazy. Yep, exactly. Black women aren't given grace at any age. Yep. But again, let this be a little light-skinned girl on here, talking about how she's insecure about whatever she's insecure about. Let this be a little black boy, and they're not going to be shamed for that. And let a black woman be like, shut up and just get over it, and don't bring it to the internet, and all hell will break loose. They're going to be talking about how black women don't have any empathy for little kids, and it would just be a whole thing. But yeah, she's a beautiful girl. Like, nothing wrong with her look. She's beautiful. Like, and I think that she knows she's attractive. And, when she gets older, she'll definitely be a force to be reckoned with. Like, she ain't gonna be tripping about these people. Trust me. So part of this is just, what little kids go through, what teenagers go through. And she'll be fine. I think she'll be fine. I just think that I hope that she finds this channel and finds dark-skinned women who will help her, who will help her detach and divest from this community and from Black community groupthink. Because I think that's the main thing here. Like, at some point, as a dark-skinned Black woman, when you get older, especially, like, you have to stop feeding so much into what Black men especially think. Being Black female and teen was rough. Still remained until, yeah. That's what I'm saying. She's supposed to have her mom and her dad, her parents, the women in her family are supposed to be pouring into her. Wait, what is, okay, y'all are let me see. Is somebody trolling in here? Oh, y'all are talking about other shit. Yeah, and that's another thing I was gonna say. Liquid Sunshine, you shouldn't raise your children in Blackistan. That's another thing I was gonna say, because clearly this little girl, I'm assuming she's being raised around majority Black people. And I don't necessarily, look, I don't have children, so you can take what I say with a grain of salt. But what really helped me as a teenager and as a young girl was being raised in a school that had a variety of people, not just a predominant race. Like, I started out in like this Christian school around all white people. I'm glad my mom took me out of there, and then she put me in a public school that was more diverse. It was literally like United Nations in there. Okay, it had a little bit of everything, and that really shaped my mindset. And honestly, I'm trying to think. There was some, I will say there was colorism. Like, I'm not going to say I never dealt with colorism or racism or anything like that. There was a little bit, but it just wasn't that bad. It wasn't like very pronounced. And it was just a variety of people. And yeah, everybody had their little cliques or whatever. I think obviously most of the kids are going to vibe with kids that look like them. But I'm telling you, growing up, my friend group was very diverse. It was extremely diverse. Sometimes I look at our old pictures and I'm like, who was that? Like, it's just random people. White, Black, Latino, Asian. We have some Asian friends. And so I think it's just very important to like raise your Black children, especially your dark-skinned Black girls, around a variety of people to just help her understand that there's more out there. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Get your kids out the hood, please. If you can. Yeah, exactly. That's why I said PWI. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that either. Because that's how I started. I started out in a mostly white Christian school. And there, if you notice, like a lot of Black people who grow up in predominantly go to predominantly white schools, they tend to be real hypersensitive and aware of the racism that goes on in places like, so it's like, you know, and again, I'm not saying you can't experience colorism or racism in, you know, a diverse setting. You can, and it does happen, but it's just it's less of an issue, I feel like. And I noticed too, like it's the same thing like with my niece and nephew. They went to a school, and my nephew still goes to a school that is very diverse, extremely diverse. And they're mixed, but it's just a whole bunch of beige kids there like them. It's a whole bunch of white kids, Black kids, it's everything. A little bit of everything. And so it's like, and I feel like they're well-rounded because of that. You get what I'm saying? Gracie says PWI is how you get Danish deception. Exactly. You get like these ditzy Black girls, like, so you don't want that either necessarily. And even now as an adult, I prefer to be in more diverse environments now. Like in my apartment building, I would say it's majority white people, but you still see a little bit of everything. Like you see a little sprinkle of everything. Like every single day, you know, you see white people, Black people, Asian people, biracial people, you see everything. Yeah, I'm going to tag her after this video is over. I'm going to reach out to her. I already decided I'm going to reach out to her. Yeah, so. But yeah, you know, so I just think that, and again, I'm not a parent, so you don't have to listen to me, but I'm telling you what worked for me and what seems to have worked in the with the children that are in proximity to me, whether it be my niece and nephew, my cousins, like. Shantae Fenton says, I prefer diversity, but I need to be able to look over and see my people. Yeah, I like seeing a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. Yeah, I hope she's open to receiving it too. I hope so, because you know how that can go. So yeah, I just want to talk about that for a minute. And I wanted to end on this comment that I got, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about. But this woman, she came to, I'm assuming that she's a Black woman, but she came to my comment section, and this was under my live stream about what the hell was this live stream about? I don't remember which live stream this was, but it's where I talked about Black women caping a little too hard for Manon in Cat's Eye. And I was telling them, you know, you're caping for these women, and you're basically defending them because they're experiencing racism. And then when they come over and they're uplifted in the Black community, you get mad because they're erasing you. I'm trying to find this comment on my phone because I can't see. Where is it at? Okay, and so she says, it's sort of ironic to tell Black women to date out and up, but refuse to realize that relationship will produce biracial children like Manon. If we cannot protect women like Manon because she's biracial and has a mother who is a fan of these sort of circles and conversations, then why even tell Black women to date out? That's always one thing that confuses me on these topics. And so I responded to her, and I said, mixed women and Black men have dark-skinned female children all the time, as we just saw with this little girl from TikTok, right? And they are never told they have to be responsible for the collective of dark-skinned women. If they aren't obligated to defend or protect dark-skinned women as a collective while birthing us, then we aren't obligated to defend them as a collective. We are only responsible for our individual children just as they are for theirs. This has been explained on my channel several times. Dark-skinned women don't have to mammy for everybody's children and adhere to rules no one else is following. And so, like I said, nobody in this community feels responsible for these little dark-skinned girls like the one we just saw from TikTok. They're not responsible for pouring into them, but we have to be responsible for pouring into mixed race children. Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I mean? How everybody expects Black women to mammy and pour into everybody else, but then tell us that we shouldn't expect that in return? Yeah, Leona says, this is a Black woman's space. Why would we be responsible for mixed race women? Right. And they'll tell you, I mean, what light-skinned women or mixed race women are feeling responsible for the little girl from TikTok, for this little girl? I guarantee now that I talked about it, they're going to be talking about it and, you know, shitting on her and throwing her under the bus and saying that she just needs to get her self-esteem out of thin air. They don't feel responsible for little girls like that. So why should we feel responsible for random mixed race girls that we're not related to, that we don't know, just because she has a Black or a Black parent? So do you see that, how everybody expects from us what they're not willing to give back? And notice how there's always a million stipulations on protecting Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women, from people who birth us, right? A million stipulations. Oh, y'all gotta be pretty. You can't be fat. You can't have a bad attitude. You only deserve attention and validation and respect if you're pretty, you're skinny, and you don't have a bad attitude, right? So there's all these stipulations, yet we are expected to protect all mixed race children and Black men simply because we birthed them. No, that's not how this works. As long as dark-skinned women have to hold our own, regardless of who our parents are, so does everybody else. As long as little Black girls are on TikTok saying how they're not being affirmed, we don't have to affirm these little random mixed race children that we don't know. That's not how, like, we keep the same energy over here. And I realize that this is one thing that makes people think I'm quote unquote evil. But in reality, this is how most of the world operates. They are loyal to their image first, regardless of who they birth, regardless of who they procreate with. Until that changes, I'm always going to encourage that dark-skinned women keep the same energy. And I don't care how mean it sounds. I don't care. And I also find, you know, that the sentiments in this comment, they're reoccurring on my channel, even though I've explained this many, many times. It's like people don't want to accept my response to this because they cannot fathom dark-skinned women being self-first. They cannot fathom us not automatically jumping to protect all mixed race children and women. They are so used to us mammying that they confuse it with morality, right? And they refuse it with this sort of, you know, moral compass that nobody else is upholding in this community. No. We don't have to uplift every random Black man and every random mixed race woman because we're swirling. Some of us aren't even producing mixed race children. Like, we don't have to do that. No. Yeah, we're returning the same energy over here. But notice how people feel entitled to our outside validation. As dark-skinned women, they feel entitled to us uplifting them, putting them on a pedestal, but will turn around and tell us that we don't deserve that back. No, we're not going. We don't do that over here. You don't give it to us, we're not giving it to you. That's how this goes over here. If the situation, if the relationship is not reciprocal and both of us are not benefiting, I'm not giving you shit. And we don't owe you anything. Yeah, Leona says, and if we're evil, then so what? Are they evil too since they never reciprocate? Exactly. Nobody calls them evil. Nobody calls them cold-hearted and mean. And, I'm the villain over here. I'm Regina George. That's what they call me. But when they're being mean to us and they're not giving to us what they want in return, like, we're the bad guys. We're evil. We're witches. Okay, well then I'm just gonna have to be a witch then. I don't care about that shit. That don't bother me. And this, goes back to what I said too in my last live stream about how, Black women and these families that have Black men who swirl and who have these mixed race children, and we automatically take them under our wing and we protect them and we love on them and we, all this stuff. They're so used to Black women doing that when we don't, it's like they lose their shit. Mm-hmm. Pink Lady says, who was evil first? I'll wait. So yeah, moral of the story, Black women, you are all you have. You're never going to get the type of validation that you want in this community. It's unfortunate that these dark-skinned girls have to go through that, but they're never going to be poured into properly by the Black community. And so the next best thing is to teach these girls how to not depend on the Black community, solely for the Black community, I should say, for anything that they need in life, whether it be validation, whether it be success, whether it be opportunities, anything. Like, you cannot depend strictly on the Black community for that. And so I think it's very important not to raise your daughters, especially dark-skinned daughters, to be monoracial and only depend on what they need from Black people. That really doesn't work anyway, when you think about it. Like, that's why a lot of these Black-owned businesses, they be going bankrupt and all this stuff, and they never really make it because they're too busy on focusing, on trying to cater specifically to only Black people, and that usually never works. Unfortunately, you're not like other race women. You can't go to your community and get most of what you need from your community, and so you just have to get bits and pieces a la carte from everywhere. You get what I'm saying? Because you really have no, home in a sense. You really have nobody to turn to and support and protect you. You have to get it individually from other people, from every community. That's how you have to strategize in this world. That's just the way it is. Is it fair? No, but that's just what you have to do. Oh, I didn't see that. Lexiana says they did it in your comments tonight, Chrissy, calling us haters because some of us aren't uplifting Zendaya and Lori. And I guarantee you these will be the same people telling us to just get over it and not expect any sort of outside validation or any, body to uplift us at all. Yet you're mad that we don't put Zendaya and Lori Harvey on a pedestal over here. So do y'all hear what y'all are saying? Well, we just gonna have to be called haters then. I don't care. Yeah, I'm not saying that you can't find community with any Black people. It's just gonna have to be individual Black people. You're gonna have to vet them appropriately. Like, I still hang around some Black people, but I had to cut a lot of niggas off. A lot of them. And I would feel the same way about a white person if they were racist. I don't tolerate the isms, outside of having to tolerate them, like maybe in professional settings or something like that. and only tolerate it temporarily. Like sometimes, you know, you have to deal with what you have to deal with. Like that's life. But as far as like continuously being around like colorist, racist people, no, I don't subject myself to that kind of abuse. I don't. Huey says, love you, Chrissy. Thank you so much for all you do from all of us. Oh, thank you, Huey. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who supported tonight. Hope I didn't miss anybody, but thank you so much. Melinda, it just goes back to sometimes, you know, sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles, and sometimes you do have to ignore the microaggressions. That's all I'm talking about. You know, because I do have a business. I do, you know, work with people in the industry. Because I'm a musician. I told you guys that before. So, you know, and sometimes little comments here and there I've heard from people, not necessarily about me, but certain comments that may indicate they're colorist or whatever. But, you know, if I'm trying to get my money in that particular situation, like I'm not going to stop and be like, oh, you're colorist. You know, I don't just be talking about colorism everywhere I go. And if I feel like the battle is not worth fighting, then I don't fight it. You get what I'm saying? So that's just what I'm talking about. Like if I know that I'm never going to see that person again and we're just working together temporarily, like I'm not going to like care, you know? So that's what I mean. But as far as like, you know, having particular friends who are colorists, the family member, like I don't deal with that on a regular basis from people is what I'm saying. Like I don't tolerate that on a regular basis coming from people. And I don't think you should either. Right. Gracie says you play the game like everybody else. Yep. Exactly. Because some people under my last video were saying, oh, well, I don't like being around people who don't like me, when I was talking about like code switching and, you know, playing the game in public or whatever. I get what you guys are saying, but trust me, when you level up, especially if you move up in class and you're in the middle upper class, it's just no way around it. Like, and you're networking and you want to move up in life, like you're going to eventually be around racist, colorist people. Like, I hate to break it to you, like, but you will encounter those people sometimes. And sometimes you will have to swallow it if you want to get your money or you want to get whatever it is you're trying to get from that particular situation. That's just the way life works. Like, unless you completely isolate yourself from the world and you want to stay stuck in one position, like eventually you're going to have to encounter these kind of people. But what I'm telling you is the most strategic way to do it is just don't keep them there for a long time. Just keep it on a temporary basis. Yeah, they do. They definitely exist in all tax brackets. But what I'm saying is, just like anything else, like, you know, at some point you may have to encounter them and be around them. And right. And you just have to play the game. But in no circumstance do they have to always be around you. Like, I've literally cut off people that I have been friends with for years, not even like just cutting them off, but like just keeping them at a distance kind of thing. And I'm good at that anyway. But if I see you exhibit a lot of colorist behavior, or you just consistently make comments that are just don't make me feel comfortable, or make me feel like you're just ignorant and stupid, like I'm not going to be around you long term. Or if I see that you're around other people like that all the time, like if you're married to a person like that, or if you live with people like that, or your family is like that, I'm not going to be around your family. Like, I had to cut off a friend, like her husband and her family are so fucking colorist. And let me tell you something. Her husband's family has one of the most beautiful dark-skinned women in their family I have ever seen. And one time I overheard them calling her ugly. Oh, girl, I said, I'm not about to be around these ignorant ass black people. And most of them people ain't even, girl, they're not even like conventionally attractive, and be talking the most shit about dark-skinned people. I said, nope. And I heard something about, like, when we were at their wedding, my friend's wedding, they were calling one of the ladies there. I think she was the wedding planner. It was somebody who was helping work on the wedding. And they was like, yeah, she black and ugly. They was calling her black and ugly on Facebook, girl. I was like, oh no, I can't be around them. I'm not going to no more of the functions. I'm cool. So like stuff like that, when it's like immediate people who are in my immediate environment, like if I see that you're constantly around colorists and you're always in an environment with ignorant Blackistan black people, I can't be around you. I'm so sorry. I can't be around you. Now, if we happen to be at the same event through a mutual friend, yeah, I'll say hi. I'll be cordial. And that's what I mean, about playing the game. I'll be nice. But am I going to hang out with you? No. Am I going to talk to you on a regular basis? No. So that's what I mean by like just not exposing and subjecting yourself to that on a constant basis. You get what I'm saying? I don't do that, especially now that I'm older. My cutoff game, my block game is so strong at this point in my life. And I wasn't always like this, but over time, and I noticed, like, I think that's a lot of times what be stressing y'all out. Like when y'all reach out to me, you be like, how do we handle colorist family members and friends and whatever? You don't be around them. I feel like a lot of y'all are stressed out because you're still subjecting yourself to these people who don't like you. You got to stay away from them. I don't care who it is. There's whole family members I don't fuck with because they're too colorist, they're too ignorant for me, and they're just too fucking dysfunctional and ghetto. I don't want to be around them. And I'm not going to be around them. Now, am I the person that people be like, oh, she be acting funny, she thinks she this? Yeah, okay, that's just what you're gonna have to think about me. I don't give a fuck. Oh, well, if you think I'm stuck up, you think I'm funny acting, that's fine. That's fine. And so that's another thing a lot of y'all got to get over. You got to get over people thinking that, or get over caring about black people thinking you funny acting, or you stuck up, or you think you this and you think you all that. And okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll take that. Hey, you can think whatever you want. And not all of them deserve an explanation either. If you feel like you want to cut somebody off because they don't make you feel comfortable, you don't have to explain nothing to them. There's people I completely ghosted and cut off with no notice at all. And I don't feel bad about it. And never will. Because I feel like they should be smart enough to know, like, you know how I am. And you know how you are. What makes you think we're compatible in any type of way? Divine says, what if you live with them? Do you have to live with them? Listen, I'm cold-blooded, okay? I'm not living with nobody who don't like me. I don't care how long it's been. You don't have to live with that person. Cut them off. Leave. Go live somewhere else if you can. And if you can't right now, work on not living with them. That's the best thing I can say. Y'all need to improve y'all cutoff game as a black woman, okay? Your cutoff game got to be strong. If you want to protect your peace, your cutoff game got to be strong. You have to be okay with being considered mean. You have to be okay with that at some point. My extended family thinks I'm stuck up and I love it. Boundaries. They get so mad and offended every time I've accomplished something and they find out after. Move in silence, ladies. Yep. Same thing with me. A lot of people in my family and that used to be my friends, they think I'm funny acting. They think I think I'm better than everybody. Okay, well, listen. Oh well. Yep, DB says, my cutoff game is so strong, Chrissy. I haven't spoken to any high school or college friends since the day I left, and family ain't seen me since 2018. Yep. And I will absolutely say no to a family function if it's people there that I don't like being around. I will absolutely say no. Yeah, I agree, Mariah. Usually coming from black people, if black people think you're stuck up, or think you all that and think this usually is a compliment. Seriously. Like you definitely should be taking that as a compliment, because that just means you have standards and boundaries. It usually means that you're just not willing to mammy for them. and you're not willing to allow them to mistreat you or disrespect you or use you or take advantage of you. That's usually what that means. Yeah, and it's jealousy too. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely some jealousy and envy there as well. Yep. Mindful says, I wouldn't live with them. Shelter till you get your own place. Yep. And find something to do. If you have to live with them right now, find something to do where you don't have to be around them all the time, even in the house. Like, if you can go out, pretend to be busy, anything, just don't subject yourself to whatever it is, they're doing on a consistent basis. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't be afraid to venture out and do your own thing. You can't be afraid of solitude. You can't be afraid of being alone for a minute and kind of, being an outlier and doing your own thing, because at some point when you detach or divest from all the bullshit in the Black community, the dysfunction, you're going to have a moment where you're alone, and it may feel lonely for a minute, but you'll be all right. You'll meet new people. And then if you don't, that's okay too. Like, I feel like some of you need to learn how to be alone and stop being so dependent on other people as well. Because I'm telling you, it's like when you become woke as a Black woman, you just automatically not going to be able to relate to a lot of people. So you just kind of have to be comfortable with just not having, a lot of people who are very close to you. So I'm okay with that, honestly. It's more peaceful that way, y'all. I don't know. I'm also saying this as an introvert too. Like, I like being alone, so I don't need to be around a lot of people all the time. So I know it can probably be harder for extroverts. I understand. But for the extroverts out there, just vet your people wisely and try to find people who, you're never going to find anybody who agrees with you on every little thing. But just try to find people who align with your values and who have the same values in life. And get you, maybe 1 to 3 people that you tight with. That's all you need. You don't need that many people anyway. Now, networking, that's something different. That's something totally different. You networking with people, trying to make moves and level up or whatever, you don't have to have a lot of the same values with those people. That's a different conversation. But, I'm just talking about people who are close. People in your immediate family or your immediate friend group or whatever, your community, your immediate community. Samantha says, very lonely, but I will meet my tribe. However, I'm peaceful. And yes, I'm also an introvert too. Yeah. See, I'm alone a lot, but I don't feel lonely. But, I also have a lot of people trying to get access, y'all know how that goes as introverts. People always be trying to like weasel their way in and trying to get you to hang out and all that stuff. I have a lot of that. I have a lot of people who try to be my friend, who want to be my friend. So, and, even family members who want to be around me more than I allow them to be around me. So maybe that's part of the reason I don't feel lonely, because it's like, I know I don't have to be, So I don't know. It just doesn't bother me, I guess, like it would bother other people. And I have good friends. I have a few people that I do fuck with, and I am around, and I do, pour into, but it's not that many people that are very close to me. I can count on one hand how many people I feel like truly know me and who I'm close to. And one of them is my mama. Like, one of them is my own mother, my family. So like, that's my main girl. Like, she's my best friend. So like, when it comes to, I don't know. And maybe that's another reason why I don't be tripping. Cause my mom is like, truly That's what I feel like too, Mariah. Like, that's pretty much all you need. When you have a good mother, it's like, it's nothing else really matters. I'm not saying friends don't matter, but I'm just saying, like, it's really no friend like that. When your mother can also be your friend, like, it's nothing like that. There's nothing can replace that. And it's like, you really feel like you don't need a lot after that. So I will say I'm blessed to have that. And, I'm not knocking anybody for wanting friends and wanting a big community, but I guess I'm just here to say, like, you really honestly don't need that. You don't need that. It's not saying that you can't have friends and you shouldn't want that, but you don't need a super large friend group. You really don't. And you can network and also keep people at a distance. And, we can talk more about that in future videos for sure. But yeah, it's been 2 hours. So, I'm going to go ahead and get off. There's some other stuff I want to talk about too. Y'all sent me this interview. Who was? I don't forgot who it was. Anyway, I'm going to watch that after I get off here and then decide if I want to do some commentary on it. But there's some other stuff I want to talk about. Some I'm not gonna bring it up until the next live stream. But I am doing live streams right now because I'm busy with work. So I don't know. Maybe I will start making clips of videos and posting them. I don't know. Like clips from the live streams and posting them. Is anybody interested in that? Would y'all like that? Not shorts, but actually like short clip videos. You know how some people, I've done that before in the past too. Like I'll take a 10-minute clip from a live stream and post it as a video. I know some people don't like that, but I don't know. Maybe I'll start doing that. And I definitely want to start posting more shorts, being that I don't have like as much time as I used to have to do this. So, okay. So some of y'all are interested in that. That's what's up. Okay, cool. Okay, well, if y'all have any topic requests, definitely email me at askchrissy@gmail.com. Don't forget the context of the information. Just send me as much information as you have on the topic, screenshots, videos, whatever you have. And I'll see if I can get around to it. Also, if you're interested in becoming a member and patron, I will be uploading some content soon for you guys, or either going live. I don't know which one I'm going to do first. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in joining the Neptunians, the link to join is in the description box. So yeah, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe on your way out, and I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye.